Morning, Mark.
Morning, how you going?
I currently have COVID at the moment, just so everyone knows, and I apologize if I have to clear my throat or anything throughout the stream today, but I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm waiting to get COVID then, is that right?
Yeah, we'll see how you go. I feel like you have a better immune system than me, though.
Yeah,
Like
maybe.
sometimes when I've been sick, you haven't got sick, so we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right. Let's start off by talking about the animal in our thumbnail today. Um, we don't have a name for this animal today, but she is one of the rescued animals at Freedom Hill Sanctuary here in South Australia, our home state. I was going to say our hometown, but it's not really a town. All right, so I'm going to read out Freedom Hill's caption for this Mrs. Chicken. Meet one of the brave ladies we rescued yesterday, and this was on the 10th of January. At just 16 months old, I've already faced challenges that no one should. I was deemed not productive enough and discarded. But thanks to these amazing humans, I'm now free from a life of misery. No more pressure to meet egg quotas. Just the joy of sanctuary life ahead. Thank you for giving me a chance to enjoy my life. That's so sweet.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's why we do this. That's why Freedom Hill does what they do.
Yeah, for the animals, the individual lives, the individual non-human persons who deserve to be safe, to be free, and I guess even in a sanctuary, then they're not technically free, but they're animals that have been domesticated. So I think, in a sense, they can never really be free. Once an animal's been domesticated, they're not designed to, or they're not capable, probably, of living in the wild on their own or anything like that. So domestication is in some ways a life sentence, but at least these ones are living in a rescue sanctuary as opposed to a farm now, anyway, even though their original purpose was to be used in a farm. But
Yeah.
what the sanctuaries do is amazing. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad that she's there. Whatever her name is, I'm glad that she's there now.
Yeah, I think that's, if you are wanting to donate to some cause or charity, I think that's probably one of the better ones to do. Like, we kind of have bred them into this existence, and kind of it's our responsibility to take care of them while we're here. I suppose it's a bit like, looking after pets. We kind of started this whole pet industry, but it's our responsibility to look after those, that are still alive and need care, before we tear it all down.
Yeah, any domesticated animal of any species, unfortunately they are not in a position where they probably can live out in the wild or should live out in the wild. So we've got to take care of them now that we've brought them here. But the goal is to not bring any more of them here in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you think about the number of vegans? The number of animals that vegans save when they go vegan.
Yes. Good point. That's something that for a while now we've always cringed at a bit, I think, when vegans say that they're saving animals. And yeah, I guess you're talking about like when they say vegans save like 100 animals a year or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that is definitely a misrepresentation of what's really happening, because at the end of the day, we humans are the ones that put them in danger in the first place. So by refraining from exploiting and killing and eating animals, you're not exactly saving them, you're just kind of not putting them in danger in the first place.
Yeah,
So
maybe we need a different word for that, maybe.
it's like if it's like, this is, obviously morbid, but it's almost like a serial killer who kills on average 10 people a year, and then one day they decide to stop. Maybe they've had a moral epiphany, and then they start saying, oh, I'm saving 10 people every year. Like, that would sound absurd, right? So, but
Yeah.
that's kind of like what we're doing. It's like we're not really saving animals by not exploiting them and killing them unnecessarily, and yeah, I think it just makes me cringe a bit, because it's almost like it makes it seem like vegans are like heroes or something, saving animals, but that's not really what it is. All we're doing is not unnecessarily putting them in danger in the first place,
Yeah.
which isn't saving them. It's just kind of basic decency, really, and it's something that we should all be doing. So
Yeah, basic respect. Like, we're just not exploiting someone. Like,
yeah,
that's just like a basic level of respect. On the
exactly.
converse side, I was leading into saying that I think the people at Freedom Hill probably can claim to have saved an X amount of animals, because they literally have, gone out there and physically saved animals from death. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you
true.
donate, I think you're part of that as well. Like, I think if you, whether money or time or services or resources, I think you probably could claim a little bit that you've, saved an X amount of animals.
Yeah, so it's like being
Yeah.
vegan in itself is not saving animals, but if you go out of your way to rescue other animals, then
Yeah.
maybe that is. I mean, I probably still prefer the word rescue rather than
Yeah.
saving. I don't know why. It's just like,
Well, I think
again,
it implies that they're the victim of somebody, right? Maybe
yeah,
like
yeah,
you're rescuing them from oppression.
yeah. But yeah, I think I just prefer rescue, because I think saving still just kind of sounds like, I don't know, heroic, but it's almost like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't see I don't see it as heroic to really give animals the basic, respect and autonomy and freedoms that they deserve.
Yeah.
Um, but
All
yeah,
right.
anyway, good
So
point.
let's just say when you go vegan, you stop oppressing others and have a basic level of respect. If you uh, rescue the victims of that oppression, then you are rescuing them. And maybe if you save an animal on the side of the road or something, maybe that's more saving animals.
Yeah, if the animal's already wild and they're in
Yeah,
danger and you save them, yeah, maybe,
save their
yeah,
life, not strictly from oppression, but yeah.
yeah. Okay, I'm glad we got that terminology out of the way. So
Yeah.
today's topic
If anybody in the
is
comments has different ideas, feel free to post those up.
today's topic. Where did all the activists go? So,
It's a bit of a where's Wally?
where's Wally? Find the activists. It's proving to be quite impossible. So, where we live, Mark and I, in Adelaide, Australia, the vegan scene and the vegan activist scene, I guess more specifically, is pretty dead and has been for a little while, I reckon. So yeah, we thought we'd just have a conversation about that, because we're a bit concerned. We're a bit concerned that, like, no one really seems to be out there doing anything, and we're concerned that maybe vegans have become a bit complacent with, I don't know, growing the movement, and they don't really, it's almost like they don't really see a need to do activism. Well, we'll get into the reasons in a second, but yeah, I'm just making some observations about where we live. I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world. That it looks like there's other parts of the world where people are getting out and doing more stuff, but where we live, it's pretty dead, and we're concerned about that because we think that whilst speciesism and animal exploitation is rampant and still the norm, there's always going to be a need for outreach and activism and speaking up.
Education.
Yeah, education, yes, like connecting with the public and making it an issue that is in, on people's radar. So that's our belief, but we have come to learn that other vegans don't seem to share that belief. So
Yeah, just as a general disclaimer, like I'm sure there are some vegans in Adelaide that are doing activist type activities.
yeah.
Yeah, like there are people out there. But I guess probably what we're focusing on is like the big old vegan movement kind of thing. Like there's probably dotted groups out there or individual people that might be doing activism, but as a whole, as a movement, yeah, that's pretty dead, I think.
Yeah, there's probably two issues. Yeah, there's probably two issues. One is actually people getting out there and doing something in the public. I guess we're not really talking so much about online because, I think I wouldn't even really know where to start to comment on online activism because I guess there's a lot of that, like on YouTube, people filming interactions that they're having in the public and posting that on YouTube, or just like us filming YouTube videos and, putting it out there. But we're talking about more like in person, I suppose, aren't we?
Yeah, like
Or did you
street
also
art.
want to talk about online as well?
Yeah, we can touch on online. I have
Yeah.
thoughts on online.
Okay. But yeah, what we've noticed in person. So I guess Adelaide, gosh, what's the population now? Probably like,
Google it.
I think last time I checked, it was like 1.4 million people, maybe.
Yeah, it's
That's
probably about 1.4.
that's a rough guess. 1.4, 1.5 million people.
Oh, maybe not quite. 1.367.
Oh, 1.367. Okay, I was pretty close the first time. So that's how many people are where we live.
Growth rate of 0.81. If that means anything to growth rate of 0.81, if that means anything to anybody out there. Less than 1% growth rate.
So anyway, that's how many people are in Adelaide. But yeah, I guess through the years, so we used to have like Anonymous for the Voiceless people going out in the main mall area of Adelaide doing the cube of truth, was it?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure which.
Yeah, we never really got involved in that because our style of activism, I guess, is just a little bit different. We prefer to, we've never really used like TV screens or shown any like graphic images or anything like that. We don't wear masks and things like that. We prefer to be very open and friendly, to invite people to come up and talk to us about veganism and animal rights. Yeah, that's more what we've been doing. But anyway, so we had Anonymous for the Voiceless. We've had other little groups, Animal Rights SA, do things, in the past, do some, demonstrations and things like that, I suppose. So we've had little things pop up here and there throughout the years, but yeah, definitely in the past couple years, it's been very dead, and I haven't really seen anything apart from maybe a couple like welfare welfare campaigns, like there
Like
was,
animal liberation, maybe.
yeah, or I don't know who, but there was the one for the banning gas chambers of for pigs, where they went
Yeah,
out and they held the signs ban gas chambers.
I think that was probably animal rights essay.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, there've been a couple little things like that, but really, in terms of like vegan, animal rights, activism, there's not been very much at all. So we kind of left wondering, like, where did everyone go, and like, why aren't we seeing more activism? And we kind of almost feel like we're the only ones at the moment who are like getting out there and talking to people, trying to do vegan outreach, vegan education.
Yeah, yeah, and we've put online, I suppose, like open to people joining us. But yeah, haven't had much interest. I think that's probably what sparked our curiosity as to why there aren't more people interested when they're, we have resources, we have the time, the means, we can organize it, and then there's not a lot of, well, from what we thought, there's not a lot of barriers for
Yeah.
people to, give it a
Yeah.
crack.
So should I explain what recently happened?
What went down?
Obviously, like, not going to name names or anything like that, but there's a group on Facebook for vegans who live in Adelaide. And
People are going to put the dots together on that one.
we've been part of that group for many years. And as I think probably most vegans would agree, wherever part of the world you live in, these groups have kind of mainly turned into food related posts, so like most of the posts I see on Adelaide, on the Adelaide Vegans, there we go, I just named it Adelaide Vegans. Adelaide Vegans Facebook group.
It took you about 30 seconds.
Anyway, it doesn't matter, I won't name names of people, that's what I meant more.
Yeah.
So Adelaide Vegans Facebook group, there's probably like, gosh, I don't even know, over 10,000 people in that group. But yeah, so most of the posts that I see anyway are food related, people being like, hey, I found this product at this supermarket, or anyone know where I can find this, or, look at this recipe, blah, blah, blah. And the only other thing I often see in there is people trying to rehome animals, very sadly. Sometimes really horrible posts to see, people being like, oh, this dog is going to be killed on or euthanized. That's a whole nother video.
Yeah, we can do that as another topic.
This dog's going to be killed on, this date if no one takes her, the owners can't look after her anymore or something. And so I see a lot of posts like that. So rehoming animals and vegan food, that's pretty much it. No one really talks about ethics or like philosophical animal rights topics. No
Like there's
one.
there's a lack of learning, maybe. Is that what you're saying? Like,
Well, I'm just saying what I've noticed.
Yeah.
So there's a lack of talk about like ethical, philosophical stuff related to veganism and animal rights, and also no one really talks about activism or anything like that. So it's all just basically food and rehoming animals. So
both of which are not terrible things.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Just the ratio, I think, is what we're discussing more than anything.
No, not even. Well, the ratio is a problem, but the thing that I think is not good is that when people do try to start conversations about anything that's not food or rehoming animals, people seem to go nuts, and it doesn't end well. It never ends well, So I'm probably the person that has tried to start the most of those conversations in that group, and it always turns into a shit show. And I don't intend it to, though. Like,
Are we allowed to swear on this stream?
Hey?
Are we allowed to swear on this stream?
Yes.
Is it kid friendly?
Come on now.
Did you make it
No,
not
it's
consensual?
not, because that means people can't comment apparently.
Oh yeah, we learned that, didn't we? We're
Anyway,
learning something new every stream. If you
yeah.
select it as kid friendly, you can't. People can't comment posts and stuff.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what was I saying before you told me off for swearing? Um, yeah, anyway, I don't mean to start these
Storms.
storms. um, and that's not my intention. And I usually get very upset when it ends up that way, because I honestly am just hoping, to start an honest conversation about vegan issues. And yeah, I end up getting attacked pretty badly. So anyway, recently I made a post that I was so I guess a few days prior I posted our next outreach event in that group. So Mark and we're planning to go do outreach on the 17th of February. And we post it in the group saying, hey, like, this is what we do. We'd love if anyone wants to join us. Like, it's really positive. We just, talk to the public in a friendly, relaxed way, talk to people who want to talk to us about animal rights and veganism if they're curious. So yeah, I did this post inviting people to like join us or ask any questions if they might be interested. In a group of over 10,000 people, we got silence pretty much. So no one at all.
Or maybe two people, maybe.
No, they didn't indicate that they were interested though.
Oh,
No
they
one
just
actually said like, hey, I'm interested. One person commented and they offered to provide us with signs. So they didn't say that they would come along or anything, but they offered to give us signs. However, the signs were not vegan signs, so I declined. But that was the only real interaction that we got on that post. One person who wasn't even offering to do the activism with us, they were just wanting to give us signs. So basically crickets chirping in the background in a group of over 10,000 people. It didn't even really get any likes. You liked it, one other person liked it, and that was it. So not even any interactions like likes or anything. So a couple of days later, I wasn't very satisfied with this response. So a couple of days later, I did a follow-up post and I said something like, I wonder if people saw my last post in this group about our outreach / activism, because it didn't really get any interactions. So I was firstly just wondering if people saw it, and then I said something like what are people's thoughts about activism? Like, are people interested? And I said something like, is it a matter of if it's a matter of time, if you're worried about like the time commitment, we literally at the moment are just putting out their events for one event per month for 2 hours. So it's essentially 2 hours a month. Now, Mark and we might decide to go out more often than that, but this is like the baseline that we've set for the year, to go out there once a month for 2 hours, which is not much. 2 hours a month, not much. So I said, yeah, if people are worried about like time commitment, it just goes for 2 hours. You can just, you don't have to come out every month either. Anyway, and
you're
then
just trying
I
to
also,
you're just trying to find out people's barriers, like
yeah, and then I also just said like,
yeah.
if it's a matter of confidence, like if people aren't really confident speaking to strangers on the street, which I get, like it takes a bit of grit to be able to do that, even though like for us it's always it's usually very positive interactions. But anyway, I said if it's a matter of confidence, we're happy to maybe run a workshop about this. If people are interested, we can run an activism workshop and teach some of our like ideas, what has worked, what doesn't work, our advice, because we've been doing this for a long time now. We've had a lot of conversations. So I offered to do a workshop and trying to see if people are interested in that. So yeah, basically just trying to work out like, are people interested? If not, why, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just
What did you expect the reaction to be?
I expected a lot of people saying that they don't have the time or that they're not confident. Like those were the two things that I thought were the biggest barriers for people. I thought either, yeah, they're busy, they work full time, so do we, but I expected people to kind of say, give reasons like time and confidence, which were the two things I thought were the biggest barriers. However, what ensued was, to me, nothing less than quite shocking, to be honest. I did not expect, and like I said, when I make these posts, I never can predict the outcome. And what happened was quite shocking to me. We ended up having a whole bunch of people basically saying that either they thought activism was not needed because they were saying things like, everyone knows about veganism these days. Why would I waste my time going out there talking to people about it when like everyone knows what it is, or they can just Google it anyway, right? So that was one of the things. And the other thing was downright bashing activism as a whole, like basically saying that activism was downright bad. So they were saying that it's too pushy, it's too preachy, it's forcing your beliefs on others, and it too aggressive, too in people's faces, like just really having a go, like really just saying that activism was bad. And that I really did not expect to come from vegans. And, even when I was trying to, like, at the beginning, when I got a couple of comments like that, I was responding to them saying, like, oh, what we do is not aggressive at all. Like, it's very passive, really. It's very peaceful. We're just standing there with signs. The signs themselves aren't even that, they're not aggressive or, they're very mild. They don't have any graphic images. They just get people to kind of, it usually asks people a question so that they come up and talk to us, But for instance, a sign that I often hold has a dog and a pig, and it's just like, is there a moral difference kind of thing? So that's really quite mild,
Yeah.
I think. Anyway, so I was trying to respond to them saying, actually, like, what we do is very non-aggressive, and we've always had really positive experiences. Like, sure, you always get some people walking past that they see it, they know what, they know what you're doing, and they make a snide comment and move along. But, that's basically, it. And if we get someone that comes up and talks to us that is defensive, we respond in a very level, kind of relaxed way. We don't meet their aggression in any way.
Yeah, neither. Well, yeah, I'm not aware of anybody that's been with us that's kind of yelled at someone or like
No, and
got
we
into
act and we
like no
actively
altercations.
we
It's not like
actively.
yeah, go.
Sorry, I was just going to say we actively like oppose that. Like, if people are going to come out and do activism with us, like, we tell them, like, we do not be aggressive verbally or whatever towards the public. We don't swear at them, we don't call them names, we don't yell. Like, we discourage that, is the word I'm looking for. We
Yeah, it's in
discourage
the
that.
T's and C's.
Yeah, we even have terms and conditions or rules that people have to read and agree to before they do activism with us. Anyway, so yeah, people were saying on this post that they thought activism was too in people's faces, too aggressive, too pushy, too preachy. And that really just took me by surprise, because even after I was telling people that what we do is quite passive, in the scale of things, that what still wasn't enough for them. They just thought the idea of even standing out there with a sign that is, you know, a vegan sign, or getting people to think about veganism, is too much. And the vibe that I was very much getting from it was that the majority of people were so concerned about making non-vegans feel uncomfortable. Like they just didn't want non-vegans to feel uncomfortable at all. And I just, like, that just really shook me, because I think, well, non-vegans are, they're not all bad people, but they're exploiting animals, they're causing unnecessary harm and death to animals.
Yeah.
We kind of need them to feel a little bit uncomfortable about what they're doing if they're gonna consider making a change, you
Yeah,
know?
in this context, they are the oppressors. You know, they're
Yeah,
victims and they're oppressors.
yeah, yeah. When you look at it objectively, they're the oppressors. And since when did vegans, you know, who supposedly care about animals and animal rights, when did we start caring more about not upsetting the oppressors
Than
than,
the
like,
victims.
yeah, than we care about what's best for the victims, you know? So
Mm.
it was just really bizarre, and I still struggle to really understand the mentality behind it. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm lost for words.
Yeah, I mean, maybe people have lost the, I don't know, don't want to say ability, but maybe as a species or something, we've lost the ability to like disagree with someone, make someone uncomfortable, whilst also being respectful. Maybe they don't see there's a way that we can put forward a strong argument for veganism to call people out for their actions, but remain respectful, maybe.
Yeah, and maybe it also comes down to, maybe a lot of them haven't actually done outreach the way that we do it, and so they don't
Yeah, maybe.
actually understand like what it looks like and what we actually do, because from our perspective, we've been doing this on and off for a long time, and we have some really great conversations, and it's really rewarding and positive most of the time. And so, you know, and people do come up to us because they're interested, they're curious. So like the way that I see it, it's almost like activism is not only necessary for animals, but it can be a really positive thing for the non-vegans as well. Like, I guess we're trying to reach out to the caring people out there who haven't maybe discovered veganism yet, or needed a little push, or needed some support. And so we're reaching out to those people, and we're almost kind of like giving them the gift of knowledge about animal rights and veganism. And
Yeah.
I guess
I mean, that's why we called the group like Vegan Education Adelaide. Like, we're trying to teach people, educate people, yeah, create open discourse.
yeah, so I think it's a bit sad that people think of vegan activism as such a bad thing, and it's almost like they've internalized what a lot of non-vegans say, the loudmouth non-vegans that try to make vegans feel bad about, um, you know, speaking up. You know, non-vegans, some of them, not all of them, but some of them have been quite hateful towards vegans and have tried to silence them, and basically made fun of
Mm.
vegans for speaking up. And I think maybe a lot of vegans have now internalized that, and they think, oh yeah, it is bad for us to speak up, and
Yeah.
it is too pushy and it is too preachy, you know. So they've like internalized that, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, it is difficult. Like, it can be difficult if you, like, your family is not vegan or something and you do receive, you know, not very kind treatment. You know, people aren't very respectful for you. So I guess sticking your neck out for the animals can sometimes, you know, have have difficult ramifications in your own life. So maybe that comes into it as well.
Yeah, I suppose. So yeah, I'm really trying to understand where they're coming from. But yeah, it honestly took me by surprise that, like, I thought that vegans always, I thought most vegans, you know, loved activists, and they were supportive of activism, and, you know, but
Well,
I
this
guess,
is the irony, right? is what we've spoken about. Is we do see activists on YouTube, on Facebook. Um, we see, campaigns and things, and people seem to be for that, like supportive of that.
Mm.
Yeah, I haven't really seen, when people post pictures of like stop using kangaroo leather, and they have graphic images of kangaroos being skinned in front of like Adidas or something. I think that's the thing going around at the moment. I haven't seen anybody say, don't do that, that's too pushy.
Mm.
Like, I haven't seen any pushback from that. But
Yeah,
maybe that's because they're not asking people to like help them. Maybe they're just like, hey, this is what we're doing. And
yeah,
they're okay to support stuff from a distance but not get involved in it.
yeah, it's true. You never see anyone criticizing like all the organizations that run these campaigns, or Farm Transparency Project that do their release the footage and campaign for banning gas
Yeah.
chambers and stuff. Like, you never see people react, like vegans reacting badly against that. So why are they reacting badly against the very peaceful outreach that we do?
Yeah, and why hasn't Ed Winters been cancelled yet? If that's like,
The only other thing I can think of with that whole Facebook debacle is that maybe the people that commented weren't representative of the majority, and maybe it was just people that felt really
yeah,
defensive.
possibly.
Because I think unfortunately, I think the way a lot of people interpreted it was that I was like having a go at people for like not wanting to do activism, which I understand, because I guess I did do that original post. I got no interactions. I did a follow-up post asking why people weren't interested, but I didn't mean it in like an attacking way. I genuinely just wanted to understand, like, why does it seem like zero people want to be involved in activism? So I think a
Yeah,
lot of people felt attacked, and so I think maybe that post got a lot of responses from like defensive people,
yeah,
um, and so, but maybe they're not representative of the majority.
yeah. Maybe there are more people out there that do want to get involved but have barriers, but didn't really want to comment, maybe, or something, or
Or
didn't see it.
maybe, or maybe there are a lot of people out there who, again, maybe they don't want to get involved, but they don't oppose it. So we seemed
Yeah,
to attract all the people that actually opposed what we were doing or opposed activism.
yeah.
And maybe they're the minority. Hopefully, I'm hoping they're the minority.
Yeah. Look, I think your intention was pure from where I'm sitting. Like, I
I was,
think
I was
you're
trying so hard, and even in my responses to everyone, I was trying so hard to like be polite and just factual and just saying things from our perspective. And some people, it actually took a very nasty turn. There were some people that got really super defensive and started calling me a bully. But it was very clear that other people did not agree with that person. That was just kind of a one person, and that person ended up being banned from the group because of their behavior. Um, so it got quite nasty.
But yeah, like, I think your intention was like your assumption might have been wrong, but we assumed that people would want to do activism and that there's things that are getting in the way of that. And I think your intention was to just like find out what those barriers are and remove some of those barriers and help people access activism. Like,
Yeah,
if it's time, we can do it less or once a month when there's no restrictions. If it's like resources, we have signs, we have
yeah. We'll
pamphlets.
pay for the signs. We'll pay for the
It's
pamphlets.
organization, like
We'll
we've
provide
organized everything.
everything.
We've
Yeah.
made the event.
If
If
it's
it's
confidence, we'll run a workshop. Like,
on the
we're
workshop,
happy to
yeah,
do
like
that.
I think we just assumed that people want to do activism. Maybe that's a wrong assumption. That's maybe, something that, we wrongly assumed.
Yeah, which again is surprising, because to me it's like I I look forward to doing it, because it's, otherwise I'm just living my life just being vegan, and I guess, talking to the very few people in my circle, you know, basically my family and people I work with, you know, and my friends who most of them are vegan anyway, like that's not very much reach, you know. So I look forward to activism because I think what more can I be doing to try and grow this movement? But yeah, I suppose not everyone sees it that way, and not everyone maybe, yeah.
And to address the people that, you know, think we're kind of doing enough as it is, I worry that they're kind of in their vegan bubble. Like you said, if most of your friends are vegan, like a lot of the time, if you post something, you've got vegan, like online, let's say, you've got people supporting you and agreeing with you on vegan ethics. I don't know, like a vegan post, but probably a lot of them are vegan. Like you've got vegan people posting vegan memes and vegans liking it. And it might feel like we're kind of making this huge difference and gaining all this traction, but it's probably not as close to reality as you think, maybe. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
There's definitely a vegan bubble effect going on where people that are in the vegan bubble, surrounded, you know, in these Facebook groups, surrounded by other vegans and stuff, they definitely forget what the reality is out there, that obviously the vast majority of people are not vegan, are speciesist.
How many people don't know what veganism is when we
And
talk to
I
them?
was just about to say that, you know, they also in their vegan bubble, and what people were commenting on my post is that they assume that like everyone knows what veganism is now. They don't. When we go out there on, even on last time we went out last Saturday, um, I was speaking to a man, and you know, one of the first questions we usually ask people is, "Have you heard of veganism before?" You know, that's a good conversation starter. Um, and the amount of people that say no, or they'll say, "Oh, is that like vegetarian?" Or you know, like there's so many people that still don't understand it, or maybe they've heard the word, but they don't actually really understand what it's about. They don't
Yeah.
understand that, or they think it's like just a diet or something like that. So I would say most people actually still don't understand veganism or don't know what it's about. So I think it's definitely wrong. The people that were commenting on my post saying, "Oh, it's well known about enough, like it's enough. It's well known now. We don't need to be out there educating people about it." Like that's so not true.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit naive.
It
Well,
is.
like I can understand it though. Like I'm not trying to bash you, whoever you are out there, but I can understand it. Like if you haven't gone out there and talked to people in the public, it can feel like everybody knows about veganism. Like you're on Facebook on a
With the
vegan like within
algorithms are
a group
showing
with
you.
algorithms exactly yeah, like it does feel like everyone knows about veganism. Everybody has an opinion. Either they, you know, it's a lifestyle choice and blah blah blah, or people are vehemently against it. So it just feels like this polarized world where everybody knows what it is, everybody understands it, and they've kind of made their choice, and you're not going to shift them. But when you talk to people outside of that context, it's quite a different story. Like
Yeah.
even I would say the people that are vehemently against it, once you just start talking to them offline from behind their key, like not from behind their keyboard, in like a respectful dialogue, it's like those barriers just come falling down, and it's like you can have an honest conversation with someone, with another human being.
Yeah. Yeah. It's online. Yeah. Activism or outreach in person is very different to online. Firstly, you know, the way that we do it is that people come up to us. You know, we don't pressure people to have a conversation with us if they're just not interested. You know, we're out there to try and reach out to the people who are interested, you know,
Yeah,
or curious. And we think that's the best approach because that's, you know, if you're getting people that are coming up to you that are already interested, you're probably going to have more impact, you know. And we're not out there to just try and get into fights with people. So we're really out there to try and, you know, get the people who are slightly curious or interested about veganism or animal rights
Yeah.
to come and talk to us. So yeah, it's very different to online. So the conversations we often have are very calm, civilized, respectful. If someone is being aggressive towards us verbally, I've never had anyone be physically aggressive, and I've never felt physically threatened or anything. But if someone's a bit verbally aggressive, we always get some people like that, who come
Yeah.
up and they're very defensive and stuff. We either try to see if we can bring them down a little bit and calm down a bit and then have a conversation with us. But if it's very clear, we try to do that, it's very clear that they're not interested, we just back off and say goodbye, basically. So
Yeah.
it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is most of the conversations that we do have are really good. Like, they're very positive and
Mm.
relaxed and interesting. So it's very different to online, where people are saying very horrible things and it's very aggressive. Like, it's nothing like that for us.
Yeah. And I can't remember which YouTube video I saw it on, but there's someone commentating on other people's YouTube videos, and they kind of made a distinction between outreach. It's like sometimes outreach is for the person that you're talking to. So like when we go out and do street outreach, we're talking to the public. The person I'm talking to, I'm trying to build a relationship with. We're trying to talk to them about veganism. We're trying to, figure out what each other's views are. We're talking to that person. So it's very much for them. But the other kind of activism is when you film it, it's not really for the person you're talking to, it becomes for the audience that's watching
Yeah.
the video back. So you see a lot of big YouTubers, often aggressive, talking to the public, but they're filming it and it's not real. They're not really trying to connect with the person on like a human level, on like they're not trying to build rapport. I think like someone like Ed Winters is pretty good at that, building rapport and doing it for that person. But there's other more aggressive activists that they don't really care if that person's not going to go vegan. Like they're just trying to catch them out in some illogical position that they hold. And it's more for the camera. It's more for the people who are going to watch that
Yeah.
video and judge that person and judge the interaction. So
Yeah.
I
That's right.
think there's a lot of aggressive activism that I guess is under the guise of education, under the guise of trying to connect with people, but it's really not. That's not the intention of it. It's to get views, and again, it goes straight into the vegan bubble. All the vegans like it. I'm assuming. I don't know how many non-vegans watch that shit. I mean, sure, I'm sure there's a place for it, but I think people
Yeah.
sometimes get the wrong idea of what our outreach is or other people's outreach, because a lot of what they see online is this aggressive, performative activism.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I would agree with that. I think, yeah. But I mean, yeah, we were in that Facebook post anyway. We were really trying to dispel any myths or, ideas about wrong ideas about what we do. So we were really trying to like show them that we've had some really positive experiences and, it's not aggressive at all. But it didn't really seem to matter.
Yeah.
And that person that ended up getting banned from the group because they were being, a bit of a bully towards me. They were saying in response to my very polite responses, they just kept saying, "Stop disregarding what people are saying," and it's like, I wasn't trying to disregard what they were saying. I was trying to dispel the wrong ideas that they had about what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hold no grudges. Like, if any of those people want to come out and sit on a bench from 50 meters away and watch us and just like see what we do, like the proof is in the pudding. Like, I'm happy to put myself out there. If that
Mm,
person who got banned wants to just like come and watch us, not
they will.
interact, not hold a sign, not talk to anybody, just watch. And like, I'm happy for that, you know?
Mm.
Like, if
Oh yeah,
anybody out there wants to just watch.
I don't think they would though. But yeah. Anyway, so it was a very interesting few days to say the least. We learnt a lot about some people's views, but yeah, I guess I'm still holding on to that optimism and holding on to the hope that the people that commented don't represent the majority of vegans. I'm hoping that the majority of vegans don't think that activism is bad. And I guess also, you know, and there was someone else, there were other people that were, a couple of other people that were commenting that were kind of more leaning towards our perspective and kind of defending me a little bit. And they did make some good points that it's quite speciesist to, the things that they were saying could be interpreted as speciesist, basically not wanting to upset non-vegans, saying that activism was too preachy and pushy and that kind of thing, because I don't know, I don't think that they would say the same things about human rights activists.
Well, maybe they do. Maybe they're consistent in
Maybe
that.
they do. Maybe, yeah, maybe they do.
Yeah. Veganism is so unique because it's like we're speaking on behalf of the oppressed, like we're speaking on behalf of the victims. So people can quite easily dismiss kind of things that we do. Whereas like when we had the marches for like the rights for gay people to get married, it's like no one's going to say stop being pushy when you're trying to get rights for yourself. But I think it becomes more tricky when you're trying to get rights for others. Like people can more easily dismiss you.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of anybody saying, I agree with giving gay people the right to get married. Like I agree with that, but don't go talk to people on the street. Like that's way too pushy. That's like being like pushing your agenda. Like did you hear any of that?
No. Yeah. But maybe there's some people out there that thought that. I can kind of see, like, it's like I was saying before, internalized. I think a lot of vegans have internalized speciesism. And I think it could happen in other human rights movements where, for example, feminism, where, some women may consider themselves to be, to agree that women should have rights, basic rights, but maybe their internalized misogyny thinks like that feminists shouldn't be so loud and aggressive, and that feminists shouldn't speak up and do activism. So maybe it's a bit like that. It's like internalizing, like they might agree with animals having rights or women having rights, but they've internalized the speciesism or the misogyny, which makes them feel like we shouldn't be so loud about it, and we shouldn't be demanding things, and we shouldn't make the oppressors feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tricky. There's a good video by Roger Yates about like the change in, I don't know if activism is the right word, but maybe the language and the direction of veganism, where he talks about the animal rights movement kind of started like with mostly people like with left-leaning values, blah blah blah, that also did activism for other human rights, like black people or gay people or whatever. Like they did activism in other areas of their life, like human issues as well. So it was like all part of the same kind of like we're against oppression. Like that was the kind of gist of it. Like, hey, I'm against oppression, so I'm going to be vegan. Or I'm against oppression, I think women should have the right to vote. I'm against oppression, blah, blah, blah. But I think people aren't vegan anymore because they're against oppression. And what Roger Yates puts forward is like when you get an influx of new people into your cause, they can often change the original meaning or the original idea or intentions of that cause. So I think we have gone through this like influx of vegans, and they've kind of changed the ideas behind it. Like it's become very like health focused, or like go vegan for yourself. Like that's pretty far from veganism's original meaning. Go vegan for the planet, whatever that means. I'm assuming that's go vegan for yourself again. Um, we could do a whole nother video on my ideas around that. Go veto, like vegan for the environment, blah, blah, blah. Oh, hang on. Like, I guess if you want to, you can go vegan for the animals. It's like that comes right down the end.
Yeah, it's
So it's
almost
very
like the
like
animals
human
is just like
focused
a,
and trick.
it's almost like the animals is just like a bonus, whereas it
Yeah.
used to be the other way around where you go vegan for the
Mm.
animals and anything else is just a bonus. But now
Yeah.
it's kind of more like, oh, animals, yeah, that's good, but also like for health and for the environment. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird,
And
isn't
it,
it?
and if you look at it through that lens, like maybe they have a point. Like if I'm saying go vegan for your health, maybe that's too pushy. Like maybe I shouldn't be telling people to go vegan for their health because that's too pushy. Like people can make their own choices. But I think because we see it as the sole reason to go vegan and the sole meaning of veganism is because there is a victim of oppression, then that's a
Mm,
very different framework for
yeah.
activism.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so basically what you're saying is that maybe there's less and less. So, I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I think most vegans, even I would
You're
go
gonna
out
go
on a
on a limb
limb.
on that one?
I'm going to go out on a limb as to say most vegans are not like abolitionist vegans. They're not vegan for animal rights.
Yeah.
Like they, um, yeah, it's either the kind of like cruelty, like welfare vegans, the health vegans, or the environmental vegans, and that's most of them, really.
Yeah, I would say so. Like if you were to ask a vegan to articulate what rights they want for animals, or like articulate the oppression of animals, I'm not sure that they'd be confident in doing that. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people say that they are and probably have their heart in the right place, but yeah, I'd be hard pressed to imagine people being able to articulate it in the very
Yeah.
least, or even what veganism is. Like, I think
Yeah.
the definition of veganism has been like um, been very flexible of late.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it all kind of comes down to that, doesn't it? Like, the way that we see veganism is that to me, veganism is synonymous with abolitionism. You know, to me, the definition of veganism is non-exploitation of animals, right? That you don't support any exploitation of animals. And to me, owning animals as property and treating them as commodities and that kind of thing, that is exploitation.
Well, that's not your opinion.
Well,
That's
yeah, owning
factual.
someone as chattel property is inherently exploitative. So to me, veganism, the non-exploitation of animals,
Mm.
is synonymous with abolitionism. You know, so to me, it's like you kind of to be a true vegan, you kind of have to be abolitionist. But unfortunately, the vast majority of the vegan movement um, doesn't even hasn't probably even thought about abolitionism or
Yeah.
um, doesn't see it that way. They're still kind of very much like welfarist.
Yeah, and like I think Roger Yates is kind of onto something because back in the day, you were against oppression, so you were against these multitude of like human rights issues. So you like conceptually could understand oppression. You understand there's a victim. You understand like the protection and using rights. So it wasn't as hard to go like, oh yeah, like animals are oppressed. Like I can see that. Like there are oppressors taking advantage of someone and like owning them and stuff like that, or not affording them rights that they kind of should have. Whereas now, it's like, yeah, I don't think people are like cognitively aware of like the system of oppression and like how that works. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Like there's a
could be a
missing
bit,
education to it, maybe or something. I don't know.
yeah, could be a bit of that too. We could probably have a whole nother episode or another video about beliefs in the vegan movement and
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of thing.
So
Um,
where do we go from here then? Like, if we've been so pessimistic and like having all these questions like, what's the plan from here? Do we just kick activism, or do we try different ways of getting people involved, or we just do what we do and lead by example?
Like our plan, our personal plan, like we're
Yeah.
gonna go and do activism at least once a month this year, and that's my commitment anyway. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think I definitely want to keep pushing a little bit. I have to believe that there are other people out there that want to do more, be more involved. So I'm going to try and see if I can run an activism workshop maybe.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And yeah, I don't know. Maybe no one will show up.
I'll be there. You
That
always
would be
teach
cool.
me stuff, so I'm happy to go.
Yeah. I think we should wrap up though, because it's been an hour now. And we don't want to make this video drag on too much.
Maybe we can learn how to do timestamps, and then people can like skip through the video.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I love long format videos though. Like I love listening to an hour of people talk about veganism.
That's you, but I don't know if most people have the attention span for that.
Don't people drive to work? Like just listen to it in the car, you know?
Anyway, all right. Well, it's been a good chat. We still have lots of open-ended questions that maybe we don't have all the answers to, you know, but
Yeah.
It's interesting anyway.
So keep an eye out for activism events. Keep an eye out for the workshop that Steph's putting on.
Yeah, if anyone is watching this from Adelaide, yeah, reach out to us. We're always keen for people to join us.
Yeah, or if anybody just has any questions, just, you know, send us a message or message in the comments section.
Yeah, 100%. All right, cool. Well, we'll be back.
Be back here next Saturday.
We'll be back here next Saturday, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same time, same place.
Same time, same place. Yep.
All right.